Hello, my name is Matt, and welcome to a full body resistance band workout. This video is for Harvard Recreation members, and as a quick reminder to modify any of the exercises you see in this video to your own capabilities. A little bit about the resistance band today. I have a super band from Perform Better, but this exercise routine will work for TheraBands. You might have been given one at a physical therapist's. It will also work if you have a band with handles. Typically, these bands will have a tube that connects one handle to the other. So we're going to go through a series of exercises, 2 at a time. The first one is a warm-up on the mat. We've got a couple for the upper body and legs, and then we'll finish up with upper body by itself. For our 2 warm-up exercises, we're going to focus on the glutes and then the core. I like to warm up these areas because they are the center of our body, and we use them for every other exercise. So the first one is a bridge, but we're going to add to the normal bridge by putting the band around our waist, pushing our hands into the ground, and that way when we push up into the bridge, we get a little more resistance at the top. So go ahead and do 10. Each of our exercises today, we're going to do 10 repetitions, and I'll give you some modifications after the first set. So this is a little harder than the normal bridge. If you prefer the normal bridge, go ahead and do that. I have one more, and then the second exercise, you hold the resistance band, put it around one foot, around that small part of my shoe there. Both legs are straight up, and you want to try to keep your legs locked if you can. This is going to be harder than bending your knees. Keep one leg up, or that is around the band, and then lower the other leg as low as you can while keeping your back flush to the mat. We do this in Pilates. It's called an imprint, where you're really pushing down with your back to the mat. Try to keep breathing and try to keep those legs straight. You'll feel a stretch through your hamstring and calf on that resistance band leg, and that's a good way to get a little extra warm up for that tight hamstring. I'll do 2 more, but try to get to 10. And then switch legs. This is a great warm up for the core because you're activating the core while moving dynamically into and out of a hard position. You can pull with your elbows back. You can also go to one hand if you prefer, and then you can use the other hand for stability on the ground. Try not to let go of those straight knees, but your body will want to bend the knee to make it a little easier. I'll do 2 more. Last one coming up. We'll do 1 more set of each of those exercises. For the bridge, to make it a little more challenging, a little more of a coordination effort, we're going to add an upper body component. So loop your hands through the handles and then hold the band itself. Shoulders back, and then as you bridge up, pull the band apart. And that's the 2-part motion. We get the glutes and the back of the upper body. It's a little harder to balance because you only have your feet and shoulders on the ground, but we get the trapezius working, the upper shoulders, as well as the glutes. If you want another version of the bridge, you can go to a single leg bridge, but that is twice as hard. We'll do 1 more, and then back to the leg lower. Legs are up. Try to keep your feet matching at the top, and don't go too low. Your back coming off the mat is your cue to stop. If you're going too low, that will probably be the first thing to go. And if you feel it in your back at all, just cut back a little bit. Don't go so low. Try to keep those legs straight. You'll feel the nice stretch in that resistance band leg. You can do a few more. If you want different variations, you can do it without the band. Keep one knee bent and hold that knee while you do your leg lowers. Or if you want to make it harder, don't use the band and do those leg lowers there. So for the other side, holding the knee and doing my leg lowers makes it a little easier for the core because I'm only using that one side, and I get my hands and arms to do some of the work for me. And then the reverse of that without the resistance band is much harder because I have to actually use my muscles to hold my legs straight. So finish up with that side. And if you want to do another set, go ahead and pause the video. We'll go on to our second set of exercises next. For our second set of exercises, we're going to continue warming up a little bit. So go ahead and hold the handles and then step on the band. If you just have a super band, you can hold the band itself. But you're going to go into a little bit of a half squat and then do side steps. You can do 10 steps each direction if you have space, but I like to do 2 or 3 each way. Try to get the 10 steps in both directions. Try to keep your feet straight, knees over ankles, straight in line with your toes as you do these steps. So you don't need to go too far with those steps. I'll do one more each way. Keep your shoulders back for this exercise. Nice, strong posture there. For the second exercise here, go a little wider, shoulder width apart, and it's a squat and row. It's not a huge row, but we're getting the shoulders involved, getting the back muscles to work. Try to get as low as you can as you do that squat and row. And again, you're trying to drive the elbows back. It's not much of a row, but it's more just getting that shoulder blade involved, getting things warmed up. I'll do 2 more, try to get to 10. And then you can relax for a second.
3.
For the second set, we're gonna switch our hand position so it's crossing. And then for a different variation, you can just do a lift for the side step. Instead of stepping, you just push it out to the side. This is a little harder because you have that balance component, which makes it harder. Make sure to do both sides for 10. Really try to push that heel out. That's going to get the gluteus medius involved, which is important for standing, walking, daily life, and the rest. Last one for me. And then the second squat and row. Try to go a little wider for this one, which is going to make it harder since the band is tighter. And then as our band is crossed, we're going a little more out to the side. Squatting down, back is straight, rowing out to the side, really pulling the shoulders back, getting the elbows a little farther out. For the side angle, you can see my back is straight, hips go back to start the squat, and I'm pulling back. Finish your 10, do one more set if you want to get to 3 sets, and then we'll go to the next set of exercises. All right, we're halfway through our workout, but the next 2 sets of 2 exercises are actually more like 4 exercises because they're single arm and single leg exercises, and we need to do both sides. So for this one, you stand on one edge of the band. If you have the handle, that'll help prevent it from slipping, or you can stand inside the super band so it doesn't slip like that. So you have that one side set. For the first exercise, it's a side lunge and then you row out to the side. So it's kind of like that last one we did with the cross band, but we're only using that one side squat and lunge. Lunge and row. So lunge out, row. Try to keep your knee over your toe like in any squat, and really trying to go out to the side to get those obliques working a little more. This is number 7 for me. I am leaning forward a little bit to really get my glutes going and my legs working. Shoulders back, pulling with the elbow. Let's do one more for this side. But before we go to the other side, let's do the other exercise. This is a reverse lunge and press. So try to get to the rack position here. The band is going down to my foot. Elbow is behind the band. So I lunge with my other foot back, and then I press up and out to the ceiling. This way it's not touching my knee and it's not touching my elbow. So it's a little forward and a little bit out. You can move as you lunge and then go out, or you can try to get those two exercises to go together. Press and lunge. Press and lunge. Depends what you want to try. It might be easier to do one at a time, but it is harder to hold that bottom of the lunge for the full press exercise. 2 more. Last one. And we'll switch legs. Lay the band out, step on top, opposite arm for the side lunge, and row. Again, keeping that knee over your toe, back is staying straight. You'll feel a little stretch maybe in that straight leg, that's okay. We're getting the full body worked out. Trying to keep your heel on the ground in that side lunge. Two more. Last one. And then we'll switch to the lunge and press, reverse lunge and press. So one leg goes, you get the band up in the rack position, lunge back, press up and out. So it's not straight up with the hand, it's a little more out to the side. Try to keep your torso upright for this one. It's a big core exercise when you're using band and core and hand and everything in between. We'll do 2 more. Last one. And if you need to take a rest, get some water, we'll come back for a different series of exercises. For our last series of exercises, we're going to have to use the door to get an anchor point for the resistance band to do our upper body exercises. So if you have a door that pulls towards you, you want to use the doorknob. And if you have the super band, you can simply loop the band around the doorknob like so, or you can actually go around both doorknobs, feeding it around one and then the other. That gives you a pretty secure anchor point to do all these exercises. If you have the band with a handle or 2 handles, you want to feed the band through the handle. So you go around the doorknob and then through the handle, and that'll set a nice anchor point there. It gets adjusted, but it's not going to slip. If you have a door that pulls closed, you can actually feed it through the door. So that's how we're going to do it today. you have your doorknob, and if you have the super band, you go through the door and around the other side doorknob there. If you have a handle, you can easily put it in the door and then close the door. Make sure it clicks, and that way you get a nice pull. And we'll do our exercises from here. So the first exercise is another row. I like to have a lot of back exercises in my workout. So one leg goes back, the leg that is forward, that same side arm is going to do the row. Go into a split squat and row back up to the top. My legs don't move, I'm just moving down and row. Really trying to push off that front knee. As always, keeping the knee in line with the toe, pulling and a little bit of a twist as I row. Keeping stable, everything's going up and down, shoulder stays back. You get a nice full row there. Switching sides, switching feet, switching hands, split squat, row. And you can time those movements to go together, or you can do the split squat and then row. Another option would be just holding at the bottom and doing every row here. Good. Our second exercise is for the chest. I really like this exercise. The first version is called a Pallof press, P-A-L-L-O-F, and it's for the core and that twisting motion that you're resisting here. Standing tall, getting as much resistance as you need. You can walk farther away to get a little more, or walk towards to get a little less. And we are going to hit both sides, or I have to turn around. Try to keep your shoulders back, feet on the ground, and I go a little wider than shoulder width for my feet, and that gives me a nice base of support. Do 10 there, and then we'll go back to the row. For this set, for a variation, just do a squat and row. Maybe not the full squat, but you can get a pretty decent squat into a one-arm row. For the squat, you're going to lean a little bit forward, and that gives you more of a pull-down exercise than that lunge row. You see, as the elbow moves towards my body, I actually get a little farther. Make sure to do 10 on each side, and then switch sides. Here's the other side. And I'm making sure to hold a center squat position, and I'm not rocking side to side. I'm not leaning to one side as I row. It's a center squat, row back. Make sure you keep your hand low. You should end up about the bottom of your ribs, pulling your shoulder back and pulling your elbow maybe just a little past the body. 10 on the last side, and then you're standing sideways. For this, we're going to do a single arm chest fly, which is going to hit the chest, and it's the same setup as that Pallof press, where you go out with both hands, but you let go with one hand, and then you go back and out into the chest press. You can make this harder by stepping out, make it easier by stepping back. And I feel like this exercise complements the push-up as another chest exercise, because it's actually harder at the top where your chest is contracted the most, versus the push-up where it's contracted and hardest where it's lengthened. Make sure to do both sides for at least 10 repetitions, and then try to do 2 to 4 sets of each exercise to get a good workout. And then we'll finish up with some stretches. For the stretches, you can definitely do whatever you normally do for stretches. I'm just going to demonstrate a few you can do with the band. So put the band around your foot like that first set of exercises. I like to have one foot up just a little bit. And then you stretch into the hamstring stretch. Pulling here. Sometimes I feel it on my calf, sometimes on the hamstring. You can also bend your knee a little bit, and then if you feel the stretch in your hamstring, that's okay too. You get a different muscle if you do that. And then for these next two stretches, keep your legs straight. And then you cross your center line to the side, and you get the outside of your leg. And then you go the other direction to the outside. Try to keep your hips on the ground and you'll feel your groin stretch. But it's important to keep your sit bones, your hip bones on the ground for the stretch. Make sure to breathe a few times in each stretch. Switch legs, do that side, and then do any other stretches you want to do. That's it for today. I hope you had a good workout, and I'll see you all next time.